I'm here at the Siskiyou Media Council TV studio, and we're located in Weed, California, near the College of the Siskiyous. Now, this program that I'm doing will air on channel 15, which is the local cable for public access. So it's Mountain Community Television, and that's here at the College of the Siskiyous. And so I'd like for you to either look us up on computer internet web for watching and viewing. We have pre-recorded shows that lots of different people have provided. And I'd like to invite you to get involved. Now you have time, if you're homebound, to learn about being part of the Siskiyou Media Council. You too can do a show. You don't have to be the host like I am. You can have somebody else read it. Or let's say you did go on a little trip. Now that people aren't flying, they get in a car and they go for a drive. Maybe you've made a series of pictures on a little trip and you can help somebody else go on that trip. So you could just chain all those photos together and either put music behind it or a speaking voice and provide it to public access. We like to have things fit in less than 30 minutes. And if you provide it to us, we will show it, so long as it doesn't have adult content. We might not be able to show that, or we may have to show it between 11 and 1 a.m. or something. Anyway, please get involved in public access. I am here with the Siskiyou Media Council, and that's MCTV 15 or YCTV 4. And my show used to be called About Town in Northern California, but I also do a show up in Southern Oregon at the university there. For 10 years, I have a show in Ashland, and it also plays out on 182 Charter. But that show up there is called Tough Times. And I just kind of talk about these are tough times, and I try to have hints from Heloise or maybe something I learned that week. So I'm going to take this down now because I was just trying to make you aware of where I was. I'm at the Siskiyou Media Council on Alvarado Street up in Weed, California. Now, one of the things I like to start every show and invite everybody to get involved in public access. But the other thing I like to do, this particular newspaper that I found here in the office is Paris's paper, and it's the Dunsmuir newspaper. But the reason I like to show people the paper is, some people only get a paper if they're looking for a job, or they're going to buy a car, or they want to know where the garage sale is. But I like to encourage people to get the paper. If you get the paper every week, I promise you there's an article in it that you will call somebody and share, or cut out and send, or a wonderful picture that you wanted to share. This has a wonderful picture of graduation class for Dunsmuir High School. But also there's a section called calendar, and I didn't find it. Usually I fold it over so I can tell you about it. And the important thing about the calendar is I know there's something going on all over town that you may want to get involved in or attend or support, like a spaghetti dinner, or you may want to go play bingo. Oh, maybe they're not playing bingo. I forgot. This is during COVID times. So anyway, but I think now that you're homebound, you should order the paper and have it delivered. And I promise you may be inspired to write a letter to the editor or something. Anyway, so I'd like to invite you to get involved in public access. I would like for you to get the newspaper and just pick one up and see if it's something you like. I really believe people don't realize there's so much in it. And nowadays, news is so important. We do see that journalists are being challenged, even when they're just reporting the news or reporting what was actually said. They're called out as fake news, and they recently arrested a journalist. So I'm a little uncomfortable and feel like we need to protect public access. So we do have some funds, and I'm not doing a call out for money. I'm doing a call out for you to get involved and come on down and work with us at public access. You might want to learn how to use cameras. You might want to do your own reporting. SiskiyouMediaCouncil.org. You can snoop on there and see the different shows we have in archives. Okay, so let me see. I just now mentioned the getting a newspaper because there's things to do in your town. One of the things I like to remind people is in your local Chamber of Commerce, you can get these different kind of visitors guides. The ones I have here is for all the counties, Butte, Lassen, Modoc, Plumas, Shasta, Siskiyou, Tehama, and Trinity. But also I got the city of Medford, Reading, and beautiful Mount Shasta. So the reason I have these to remind you that people won't be flying like we used to. You know, we're going to be doing our own holidays and being a tourist in our own town. And we'll get in the car and we'll drive places as a family. And we may get out and do a little walking. And it's important for health with this COVID, with us being locked up and told to stay home and be careful and wear a mask. We need to still stretch and move and get up and get out. Now, I know these people don't have a mask on, and so this is one of my old pictures, and I would say to you maybe, oh, maybe they're on their own property and it's just a family. Because one of the things with walking is you do need to distance from the other group so that you're not sharing the virus. We right now all kind of have people, 4 or 5 people, a family of people that we meet with and we can have a meal with. But beyond that, we're all trying to be careful and sequester. And I know people are working from home, but even those people are having trouble getting exercise. It's so important when you're in the house that you keep a schedule, or you try to, especially with kids. Oh, God bless anyone who's had to learn calculus and math and arithmetic that these kids are studying is way beyond me. I'm so glad my kids got through school before this. One of the things with COVID, though, I want to remind you, I've heard recently that there's some scams out there. So I want you to tell a loved one, because you might have a senior that's at home that isn't aware they're being scammed. And one of the things they're doing is people are going door to door and saying, oh, I have this air purifier. If you put this in your house, it'll kill the virus. So they're selling these air purifiers at a marked up price. It's false. You can't buy an air purifier. You know, you can humidify your house. You can have a swamp cooler. You can, I don't know, there's something they do with ozones or something. But the reality is, to kill this virus, we have to wash it off our hands. And we have to use an alcohol, 2 parts alcohol, 1 part aloe vera. But washing and using alcohol will kill the virus. Now, the other thing is, we want to wear a mask to keep from spreading it. So please tell your loved ones that there is somebody going door to door trying to, they're also offering to come in and steam clean your house. Let us come in and steam clean, pay us $20, $40. So there's people very enterprising that want to go around and help people clean, but they're taking advantage of the coronavirus, and it may not be safe to have them in your house. So be careful for scams during this time, because people are not sure what to do. We haven't gotten a single unified message from the administration that manages all the states. I would have liked to seen a unified message, all of us being able to get the equipment that they need on the front lines. Now, the other thing about working from home, I want to remind you, I made a note. I want to remind you, if you're working from home, and I'm sure your job has required this, but make sure that you have good security systems, that whatever work you're doing, even if you're just counting cucumbers for an organic market, make sure that that information is secure. I don't know enough about computers, but I do want to tell you, there are a few ways to weather these changes that we're going through in life. And I just want to tick off these. I won't read the description, but I want to tick off these little mental wellness tips, because we've all been going a little stir crazy. All of the people got out and started walking across this nation in support of justice and human kindness. And so people have walked all across this nation. And also people recently went out for a rally, and I just think people need to get out of the house. So I do understand, and we need to get out in a safe way. But practice self-compassion. Take a step back and be kind to yourself. If you're upset about something, remind yourself it'll be short-lived and you'll get through it. Practice self-knowledge. Getting through difficult situations, you have to remind yourself you've had tough times. Manage your impulses. Humans have emotions, that's normal. We can embrace our feelings, but we can manage our reactions. So you may have reactions and you can control them. Get outside, exercise, take deep breaths. We can do that in the house. We can expand our lungs. And it's really important because this particular virus that's very contagious likes to attack lungs. So maybe take time to do some breathing or step away. Or I always say to people, find a corner in your house and put your back up against it, because you'll find out how curled we're getting where we're hunched over. So please take time to stretch every day. Some people like to do yoga, and that's really important because I think it helps you unpack some of the things you're carrying around. Get outside. Think about what you value. Think about those things. If close relationships mean something to you, social media may not be the best way to find that. Send a text message or a video chat. Make it more personal. Do a reality check. Much of your stress is related to things that you can't change. So do an inventory of what you can change and make a difference. Accept the things that you can't change. We need to have a work-life balance. Some people, they have a job and they're working at home, and so they just focus on it all the time and stay at their computer, or I don't know what else you would do if you weren't at a computer working from home, maybe artistic work or something. But we need to take a break from that. You need to really, in terms of managing your time, take a break. Make a list of people you want to see, set up virtual dates, and talk about subjects other than COVID-19. Meet with your book group virtually or watch a favorite TV show together. Limit your news intake. Be wary about what you're getting your information. I think one of the things that's so important in the very beginning of this president being president, he used a term called fake news. And so even if the media reported a story that something he said, the president will say, well, that's not what I meant, or he told us not to believe the news we were hearing. Well, I want to say to you, you can't always believe the news you're hearing, and it's so important to get your news from more than one source. So please listen to more than one source. I don't want to say any one station is bad, but I know that if you listen to more than one station, you will be able to balance out the facts that you hear and decide what's right for you and what you believe. So that's really important. I have one girlfriend that says, I only do a certain amount of news every day because I don't want to stress about it. I understand. So she doesn't really want to keep up with all the little details. She just kind of wants a daily. Okay. Relish moments of joy. Try to create them when you can. They can be minor, but take time to appreciate something, like if somebody says something and you laughed heartily, or if you read something that made you slap your knee or laugh out loud. Just take those moments for a minute and think, oh my God, just felt so good to feel good. Keep a journal. I'm not big on journals, but you know what I like to suggest is that you have a calendar on the wall and you just jot little notes on it about where you went, somebody you went to see, just little notes. Like if you have little kids, when they say something that's so special, put it on that calendar, because that calendar is going to stay on the wall all year. It's not on a piece of paper you're going to lose on your desk. If you saw my desk, you'd know why I said that, because I'm always finding something that I meant to bring up on the show. Reach out to old friends. This is a good time I said on my last show I said it's really important for all of us to think about, you go to the mailbox, you get your mail, and isn't it fun to get a letter? In the old days, my mother was like the family correspondent. She could write a letter, and when she sent it to you, you really understood what it was that entertained her that day. Now, speaking of the mail, I want to talk to you about your mailbox. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of times you don't want to wait in the lobby at the post office. They have these envelopes in my town. I don't know what they look like in other towns, but you can also just take a plain envelope and address it to the postmaster and put it in your mailbox. And you can buy stamps. I think it's $11 for 20 stamps, 55 cents times 20. I think it's $11. And or you can write a note to the carrier and say, please bring me a priority envelope. If there's something you want to mail, you can interact with your mail carrier for mailing things. Now, if you're just going to mail a form or you want something to go priority, you can buy the 785 stamp on an envelope and mail a priority envelope. But if it weighs more than like a pound. You have to take it over the counter at the post office. But you still can mail a priority envelope. And the next day, if you put it in your mailbox with the stamps and a note saying I need a receipt, the carrier will get you a receipt. So if you're concerned about waiting in lobbies at the post office, you can use your mailbox to do mailings. Now, something else I want to remind you. Now that you're home, people are home. In the old days, we used to get magazines, and we would sit down with it and tear out a recipe or find an article that we mailed somebody or save a picture. But the thing about magazines is people decided that they could just pick and choose through social media and surfing the web the stories that they wanted to read. So they could just say, I want a cooking recipe, I'll go there. But the thing is, you're choosing what you're looking up. When you use a magazine, you get new ideas that you weren't already searching for. So I'd like to encourage you to think about something. For about 6 years, you might have seen me in the market. I used to work in several markets doing magazines and bestseller books. And when I worked there, I used to get these offers, and I could see that for any magazine you want, if you go to like the first 6 pages, it has a phone number for subscriptions. If you call them up and say, I don't know if I want to get your magazine. Can I just pay like $8 or $10 for a year? They will give you any magazine you want, just about, except for like Time magazine. You can get it for $8 to $10. So I just want to encourage you that if you're home and you might be getting a little tired of watching every series that you ever wanted to watch, or watching game shows and things that people enjoy, you also may wish to get a magazine, and you may have a few favorites, and they're just so reasonable. And to get something every month that you can go through and put your hands on and turn pages, I want to encourage you to do that. Let me see, did I give you all the best ways to have wellness? Reach out to old friends, celebrate small wins. In tough times, you don't have to hold yourself to the same bar. You can say, hey, I got this done today. May not have been everything I wanted to do today, but think in terms of post-traumatic growth. Those who endured trauma often say they learned to be more grateful. And I do think with all of us, this has like been a great equalizer and humbled a lot of people to be kept at home and having to share responsibility. And so what, you never want to go through trauma, but there can always be a silver lining. I think we've seen a lot of clearer air and clear water, and with all these people, I know Los Angeles has seen their, they can see. Try and avoid the 3 Ps. Personalization, whatever's gone wrong is your fault, because it's not. Pervasiveness, thinking when something goes wrong, you had everything to do with it. We need to remember that just because we feel awful today, we won't always feel awful. We might have something that upset us. It's just a moment in time. Okay, so now I want to talk just a little bit. I like to, I always have hints from Heloise. So now that I've kind of talked to you about looking for a free vacation by being a tourist in your own town, I also want to go back to my list of what I want to remember to tell you everything so I don't forget. So health. I've talked about walking and how important it is to stretch and get up and get moving. Not only do I want to talk to you about being healthy, but I want to talk to you about something people don't often think about. When you're going to go to the doctor, take all of your or if you're taking your mother or family member, any vitamins and pills you take, don't just make a list. Take the bottles and drop them in and show them to the doctor. That's the bestest way. And when you do that and you take them out of the bathroom, you know how we all have medicine cabinets in the bathroom? The problem with that medicine cabinet, it's really just meant for a toothbrush and maybe some mouthwash, but it's not meant for medicines. And the reason is when medicines are kept in a moist environment, and sometimes you might not always screw on the cap tightest, that will cause it to lose its strength. So if you want your medicine to retain its strength, you must keep it in a hall closet, or maybe there's somewhere up in the kitchen you can put it, and every morning get a glass of water, take your vitamins from the kitchen. I just want to remind you that they lose their strength. Okay, now when we talk about the kitchen, I just said we're mentioning going into the kitchen. There's a few things I want to remind you. Always throw your sponge and your scrunchie for scrubbing in the dishwasher, if you can. And I think it's good to get it sterilized or else buy a new sponge. Don't forget it holds joins. Okay, now I don't know if you ever go to the dollar store. I happen to frequent the dollar store because I like to get my paper towels there. And I like to get the paper towels that have smaller sizes because I don't always need a whole sheet. I just have to clean up a coffee ring or something. So I like to remind you to get the paper towels that have the smaller ones. And also lately I've been buying just the little pack of napkins. It's wonderful because it's just the right size. Also, I want to remind you, if you're getting paper plates, I know you're thinking I'm silly, but oftentimes you reach up in your cupboard and you get a paper plate and you give somebody a sandwich and they go throw it in the trash. But actually that paper plate has been stuck together on purpose. They purposely stick them together so you throw away more than one. Okay, when I first started doing this show, I used to say Doritos and a bag of potatoes. And I used to say Doritos gone in 30 minutes and a bag of potatoes is 4 meals. So now if you ever took my advice and bought potatoes, you may have a few left over because winter is over. I like to cook a baked potato to warm up the house. But you might want to take one and put it in a jar. If you have kids at home, stick toothpicks in it, and they'll be really surprised at what wonderful foliage, especially off a sweet pea, or a sweet potato, or a yam. They make wonderful foliage. You stick a bunch of toothpicks in it so it only sits halfway in the water in a ball jar and set it up, and you'll be so surprised. You'll have wonderful green leaves for, I don't know how long it lasts, maybe 12 weeks. So the other thing at the dollar store that I've discovered I'd like to share with you. This is an espresso coffee. It's called Cafe Moro. And I've noticed it in every dollar store I ever went in. And I tried it, and you know what? It's delicious. You can make it too strong and then you won't like it. But it is a nice cup of coffee. It's called Cafe Moro, and it's, I can't say how much it costs, but I got it at the dollar store. Okay, so when you do public access, you're not allowed to sell something. I'm just sharing with you something that I enjoyed. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to you about is, as I'm talking to you about safety measures, about how important it is when you go out, be sure you keep 6 feet. Let's try not to share this virus. It's going to be coming through our town and through our community and getting stronger because it's starting to multiply. And we've all been very good, which has kept these illnesses and deaths because we've all been good. Let's not feel like it's over because this is going to go on. This is a new normal that's going to go on for months. Okay, but you can still, they say the Klamath National Forest has reopened some sites. I won't list them, but you can check. And you can take your family and get out and get exercise. The weather's wonderful. You might want to go early in the morning because it's been warm this week. But safety measures needed to be used on hiking trails. Don't socialize. Don't talk to anybody. Stay local. You don't need to go far. Just there's so many wonderful hikes. Starting down at Castle Craig's is where the Pacific Crest Trail taps in. Now the Pacific Crest Trail goes, I don't know, 700 miles or something through California up to Oregon. And you can actually get on the trail and walk a distance of it. You don't have to be a hiker that's going to live on it for a week. There are inlets and outlets off of the Pacific Crest Trail where people can drive up and park. Castle Craig's is one of them. And that's at like exit 718, I think. So it's like 718 miles up the highway from the Mexican border. If you've seen the numbers on the exits, it's how many miles from the southern border of California to the... Anyway, okay, so I wanted to talk to you about that. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, when you walk in your kitchen, I've realized that there's something I didn't do for many years that I've really been loving. When I make bacon, I have a little jar and I save the grease and then I use it to cook with. And I've found many things that I like cooking with. So if you do eat meat and you like your bacon, save the grease. Some people put it on dog food. I'm not sure if that might fatten them up this time of year. Okay, also when you walk in your kitchen, I talked to you about the paper towel and I talked to you about putting your sponge in. But if you're making coffee, one thing I did here is if you do think your coffee's a little strong, you can drop a raisin in it, and it makes it a teeny bit sweeter. So you might want to try that. What else did I want to tell you about your kitchen? Oh, if you have a freezer and it's not like completely full, and the next time you have an empty milk carton, fill it with water and freeze it, because the fuller your freezer is, the less energy it takes to keep it cold. So you want to make sure and keep it looking full, and that way if you go shopping and you get a bunch of something, then you take out the bottles of water. But otherwise, keep your freezer full of water because it'll take less power. Okay, I want to talk to you about the senior lunch. I'm running out of time. This is important. I don't want you to be too proud. I only have a few minutes here. I don't want you to be too proud to go to lunch. Now, here in South County, the 2 phone numbers you can call and ask questions, I believe this is correct. 926-1400, 235-4400. But I do have a number for the city park is 926-4611. 4611. And the reason this is important is, they do have variety. The lunch is free if you're over 60. Don't be too proud to go. The city park at the recreation office, right there in the first building, she rolls out a cart. You're not going in and having lunch with a bunch of seniors. She puts your food on it, rolls the cart out, and then you have the option. She'll say, do you want a mayonnaise or something extra? If they've cleaned their kitchen, they have like little extras. They might have extra oranges one day and they let everybody have an extra orange. So the lunches are delicious. I found that she makes her own tartar sauce and her own coleslaw, and I've really enjoyed it. I know I'm running out of time, but please consider, don't be too proud to have just a variety in your meals. For me, she makes things that I don't think to make. And so I want to encourage you to find out about your senior lunch. In Mount Shasta, it's 4 days a week. In Dunsmuir, it's 1 day a week. And in Weed, the restaurants all get together and support it. You have to call, you have to let them know how many meals they're making. But if you're over 60 and you're just not inspired to cook and you live alone, and now if you don't get out much or you have physical handicap, you can have the lunch delivered. But otherwise, you just drive up, get your lunch, get in your car and drive away. So you're not socializing and having lunch, but there is a senior lunch, delicious meals. And I really would like to encourage you because the more people that use the service, they get additional monies. So please consider having lunch at the city park. Okay, I know my time's up. Therese Swenson. I'm just talking to you from Mount Shasta, but I also do shows in Southern Oregon. I'm at the Alvarado building here in Weed by the college, but I also go to the the Southern Oregon University DMC, Digital Media Center. But if you just look up Rogue Valley Television, you can find the TV shows that are on archives. And if you go to public access at Art Rogue Valley Television, and if you go to public access at Siskiyou Media Council. Thanks for listening to me today. I look forward to seeing you again. I've been doing a show once a month now with COVID. Okay, see you next time.